Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, guys. Am I audible for everyone? I will share my screen and we'll check the live is okay. Is it my screen is visible for everyone? Okay, fine. I hope my screen is visible for everyone. Okay, okay, right. Last session we started with servlets. Last session we started with servlets. Servlets is nothing but normal Java class only. So we'll see today itself like how will you convert the normal Java class into the servlets. So we'll see today itself. So last session we discussed about the servlets, the basic things like for doing the servlets, like we did complete the like core Java, which is used to develop the standalone applications. And after this, JDBC is the Java database connectivity, which is used to communicate between our web application and database. And next thing, servlets, which is used to develop the web applications. Servlet is nothing but normal classes only, which will have the classes and which will have the methods like init method, service method, destroy method, which will take the parameters, process the parameters, and return the response. Return the response. So we'll see like how the servlets will work today itself. We'll see about the servlets. Next, what does it mean by web application? Web application meaning which can access by the multiple users at a time is called web applications. Web applications. And after this, web applications runs inside the server only. Web application runs inside the server only. And server, what does it mean by server? What does it mean by server? Whenever you are learning time, like if any new words comes into the picture, we need to try to understand the word internal meaning. So if you can observe, this is the server. So when the server is the new term in your case, so what you guys will do, you need to understand where what does it mean by server, where the server will use. So we need to analyze like that way. Then only we can get the clarity. So without no clarity, no like we cannot analyze the code. We cannot analyze the code. So if any new words come into the like course, come into the picture, then you need to analyze the words. You need to analyze the words using like we'll be having a lot of resources in the market, like website, lot of website there you can search with what does it mean by server, like that you can remember. So server is a combination of hardware and software, which will have a program which is used to run our web applications. In the market server we have lot of servers like Apache Tomcat, JBoss, WebLogic will be having market a lot of servers. Next thing, web application architecture. In the web application architecture, mainly it will have two parts. One is the server and second one is the client. What does it mean by server? So server meaning, which means like first we'll see about the client. Client means a person, a system which will send request to the server to access the web application. To access the web application. We seen like a lot of examples with Gmail and all. After this, what does it mean by server? Server means which is a program which is responsible to take request, process the request, and return the response. So after that, the steps to develop the web applications. So first we need to, if you want to like uh, run the web application, so server is the mandatory. Server is the mandatory. So last session, like we did successfully install the Tomcat server, and we learned about the folder structure in the Tomcat server. We learned about the folder structure in the Tomcat server. So the first step we have successfully completed. The next one, create dynamic web project. So this one also we have created successfully. Yesterday we have created the dynamic web project. The project might be taken, we can take any name. We have created the dynamic web project yesterday as well. And third one is set up the build path. Set up the build path. So what does it mean by build path? What does it mean by build path? So we'll try to understand. I will open my notepad and I will explain through the like what does it mean by build path and all. Then everyone will get the clarity. MS Paint. I will open my MS Paint. This is my MS Paint file, image properties. Okay, now 1 second. So I hope is my everyone visible my screen. For backend development, we are doing that is JW. JW. We can call it as the J2W also or J2W also. Whenever we are developing web applications with the help of JW, we will use one API that is the Servlets API. That is Servlets API. Servlets, Servlets API. Servlets API. With this API, which will contain only methods, but implementations provided companies. Like for example, this is the Servlets API. This is the Servlets API. For example, this is the server. You can assume we have the one server. This is the server. Within this server, we'll be having we'll be having some our app.jar. This is the server. You can assume this is the server, and I would say there's server companies in our market like Tomcat, Tomcat, and JBoss, and WebLogic. These are the different servers available in our market. Most of them are using Tomcat server. So predefined servlet, I would say servlet API having only methods only. The servlet having only methods. The servlet having only methods. But the implementation will be available. Implementation will be available. So who will provide the implementation? The companies will provide the implementation. Whoever introduced the Tomcats, whoever introduced the servers, those companies will provide the implementations. For example, if you take the Tomcat server, if you take the Tomcat server, the company name is the Apache. Company name is the Apache. And if you go for the JBoss, the company name is the JBoss, and this one is the WebLogic. The company name is the WebLogic. So server name is the Tomcat server. Here the server name is the JBoss server. Here the server name is the WebLogic server. But the company name is Apache, JBoss, WebLogic. In this case, in this API, it will define with only methods, but implementation who will provide? The companies will provide the implementation. For example, if you download the Tomcat server, Apache company will provide the one implementation. Apache will provide the implementation. The implementations will available under the .jar, where the .jar files are available under your libraries. In the yesterday session we seen like a folder structure of the Tomcat server. There will be having one libraries folder. Under the libraries folder will be having implementation with .class files. I will show you that one. Right now you just try to understand. Servlets API defined with Servlets API is just a definition, like it's just a declaration, but the implementation will be available whatever the server you will download, the company will provide the implementation. For example, if you download the Tomcat server, under the Tomcat server in the libraries, you will be find out one jar file, that is the servlet, I would say servlet api.jar, api.jar. So within this jar file, we'll be having implementation of this API. We'll be having implementation of this API. And if you download, for example, if you download the JBoss, so in the JBoss server also we'll be having the folder structure. Under the folder structure, we'll be having libraries folder. Under the libraries folder, we'll be having same servlet.api.jar. This is the implementation. Who will provide this implementation? The companies will provide the implementation. If you take the Apache, if you download the Tomcat server, there you can find out the implementation of the servlets API. So I will show you in my, this is my Tomcat. So I am opening my Tomcat. I would say logs, not logs, libraries. Under the libraries, you can find out servlet.api. You can observe servlet api.jar. This is the implementation. Who will provide this implementation is company. Apache company will provide this implementation. Whenever you download the Tomcat server, this will also download. So we need to give this path to our IDE. This much is clear. For backend development, we will use the one API, that is the servlets API. With this, I would say in this API, only it will have only methods. We don't have any implementation. Implementations will be provided by the different companies like Apache, JBoss, WebLogic. For example, if you are like comfortable with Apache, then you should download the Apache Tomcat server. Then there, whenever you download, you will get the implementation also, where the implementation is present. If you can observe, I have downloaded in Apache Tomcat. If I open the libraries, there you find out servlet api.jar. This is the implementation. The predefined classes implementation, everything is available here. So with the help of this only, we can able to write the servlets. So we need to give the path mandatory. Why? Because we'll be having predefined classes and implementation. We need to add as a class path. We need to give the path. So that's the thing. So this much is clear. Servlets will be having servlets. This is only a definition. Implementation, different companies will provide. So if you take the Apache is the one company, they will provide the like implementation, but they don't share their implementation to other company. If they share, they will miss their the company profits and all. They don't share their implementation to others company. Whenever you download the Tomcat, they will share their implementation. This much is clear. So at the time of writing the servlets, we need to set the path. This servlets API.jar path we need set. So that is the third point actually. Set up the build path for the required libraries. Whenever you want to write the servlets, we need to set up the path. The path is servlets-api.jar. Under this, we'll be having the implementation. If you take like JBoss, there might be having different implementation. If you take another company, there might be having the another different implementation. So we are going Apache Tomcat. So there will be having the jar name is servlet api.jar. Under this jar, we'll be having the implementation. So this much is clear. First step, download server. Second step, open your IDE, create web dynamic project. Third step, we need to give the path. We need to give the servlet api.jar. So giving path is we seen yesterday also. We'll see one more time. I will open my Eclipse, then I will see. Simply, whatever the project you want to give the build path, simply click over the project. For example, if I want to give the test is the dynamic project, I would like to give the build path. Simply right click over the project, then we'll get the build path option. Build path, configure build path, and libraries. There we will get the add external libraries. There you can give the path. There you should give the path. So here I have already added, so that's why it is not. There you need to give the path. After giving the path, there you need to give the path. After giving the path, the fourth step is create servlet class. To create servlet class to handle the request and response. So from starting onwards, I am saying servlet is servlet is, I will write here. What does it mean by servlet? From starting onwards, I am saying what does it mean by servlet? Servlet is normal Java program only. For example, public class demo. This is the normal class or this is the servlet? This is the normal class. So what I am saying, the definition of the servlet is the classes only which will have the methods like init method, service method, and destroy method, which will take the parameters, process the parameters, return the response. This is the definition of the servlets. Okay. At the time of definition, what I am saying, servlet is the class. So should I tell this is the class, public class demo? Yes, this is the normal class. So how can I convert this normal class into the servlet? We can extend the properties. Basically, servlet is the interface. Servlet is the interface. So servlet is the interface. Under the servlet interface, we'll be having classes like generic servlet dot class is the one class. Generic servlet dot class is the one class, and after this HTTP servlet request HTTP servlet class is the subclasses of the interface. This one servlet, this one is the interface. This one is the interface. I would say this one is the interface. This one is the interface. This one is the class, and this one is the class. Among those, for creating servlet, this one is recommended. HTTP servlet dot class. This one is recommended. This one is recommended. Interface and interface, and this one is the class. So servlet is main interface. Under the servlet hierarchy, will be having two classes. One is the generic servlet class. Second one is the HTTP servlet class. HTTP servlet class. So if you go through it, like you are like it is giving some exceptions. So that's why HTTP servlet request dot class is the recommended way. So like whoever want to write the servlet, so all of them using extending this class. So this is the predefined class, like custom class. This is the predefined class. So simply I want, this is the normal Java program. Public class demo is the normal Java program. I would like to convert this normal Java program into the servlet. How can I convert? Simply I am extending predefined class. Extends predefined class is the HTTP servlet. HTTP servlet HTTP servlet dot class. If I mention this class, then now this class also behave like as the servlet. This class also behave like as the servlet. So now my definition is valid or invalid? Servlet is nothing but a classes which will have the methods like init method, I would say, and service method and destroy method, destroy method. Which will these three are the methods which will take the parameters, process the parameters, return the response. In some interviews, they will ask what is the life cycle of the servlet. What is the life cycle of the servlet? In that case also, the life cycle of the servlet is the init, service, destroy. Init, service, destroy. Like where the methods are available, meaning, for example, you can take here. So every Tomcat server, whenever you are downloading the Tomcat server, inside the Tomcat server will be having one container. That is the servlet container. Container is nothing but it is a platform to execute our servlet programs. Inside the Tomcat server will be having one servlet container. The main purpose of the container, meaning it is a platform to execute our servlet programs. Servlet programs is like normal classes only. Normal classes only. So guys, these three methods are predefined methods. Normally, what does it mean by method? Like it will do the some operations. In this case also, it will do the operations. Init method means it will initialize servlet, and here is service, meaning process the servlet here. Process the servlet, and here destroy meaning last final. So servlet got terminated. Termination stage. So in the real time, I would say interview perspective, they will ask servlet life cycle. Servlet life cycle meaning you can say init, service and destroy. Init, service and destroy. So this much is clear. Like where the init method is initialized, meaning under the server internally one container will available. Servlet container available. So container meaning it is a platform where our servlet programs got executed. Okay, it will be having three methods, that is the init method, service method and destroy method. So like in the definition also they will ask what does it mean by servlet, then you can say servlet is classes only which will have the methods like init method, service method, destroy method, which will take the parameters, process meaning executing the code. Whatever the code we deployed into the server, it will executing the code and it will return the response. Clear? This much is clear. So servlet is very important concept. Any interview you can attend, they compulsory they will ask the question. Servlet, without servlet question, if you attend any interview, 99% servlet question they will ask. Servlet is nothing but normal Java classes only. If you can observe, demo is the normal Java class, and I am converting this demo class into the servlet. How should I convert? I am extending the predefined class. This class is having some properties. So when I am extending those properties, all the properties now inheriting. So when I am inheriting those properties, demo is now also behaving like as a these properties. So meaning now demo is also acting as a servlet. This much is clear. Basically, I will explain one more time. Servlet is nothing but normal Java class only. Normally till now, how will you write the programs? Like you can take normal programs like public, the class name. You can take any name. And this is the scope of normal Java class. normal Java class. So with the help of these class, till now we did the programs like operations and all everything you can do. But in case of web application, if you want to access the like till now we did the programs all are standalone applications. You can access within the own system. But if you want to access, if you want to make our web accessible through the internet, if you want to make our website accessible through the internet, servlets is mandatory. Servlets is mandatory. So servlets is the backend API. So like JWE, they will provide one API, that is the servlets API. If you want to make our web application as a dynamic, we will go for the servlets. Servlets is nothing but Java classes only. Java classes only. So in the predefined, the JDK team has introduced servlet interface and generic class, generic HTTP, generic servlet class, and second one is I would say HTTP servlet class. HTTP servlet dot class. These are the classes. Under this class we'll be having the methods like get method, post method, and these all the methods are available. For example, if you want to, you can will be having the servlet.api.jar. If you can open there, then we will find out these classes. Servlet generic servlet.class, HTTP servlet.class. There will be having the methods like do get method, do post method. Those methods will be available. Servlet is the interface. These three are the predefined class. These three main purposes to make our web application accessible through the internet. How will you access the normal? If you develop with the normal Java class, you cannot accessible through the internet. If you want accessible through the internet, you should go for the servlet concept. So servlet is the predefined classes, and this one is the predefined, these two are the predefined. Now this is the normal class. Now I would like to convert this normal Java class into servlet. How should I convert? We need to extend these three. So first, if I approach the first two, some exceptions are rising. So that's why I'm avoiding those two. So third one is the recommended. So that's why I am mentioning extends HTTP servlet. If I mention like this, what will happen? This class will be having some predefined methods. When I am extending this one, it is giving the suggestions for us. Please add unimplemented methods. If you add the unimplemented methods, you will get some do get method, do delete method. These are the methods are available. In that methods, the parameters are available like uh, servlet HTTP request class. From that we'll be having the request and response. That those two are the parameters to the method do get method. So I will so till now you should remember like servlet is a normal Java class, and we are extending one predefined class, that is the HTTP servlet class. This one is also having one hierarchy. That hierarchy is servlet is the interface. Under the interface we'll be having two classes. Generic servlet is the one class, HTTP servlet is the another class. Among those three, third one is the recommended to write the servlet program. Till now you should remember these things. After these things, I will go here. After these things, map servlet classes to URL pattern. So URL pattern also very important role. For example, same example, what I explained till now, same example, I will go my dynamic project. I will create one servlet. With the name of demo. with the name of demo or test, anything I can take. So I will take the name servlet name as the test, and I can extend HTTP servlet. The same I will create. You can observe right now. This is my Eclipse. I will go any project. Uh, I would like to go test and src main. Okay. Uh, so normally backend files are created inside the Java. So shortcut is Control M. If you press the Control M, we will get the one wizard box. Now we can search with servlet. We can search with servlet, then we can get the servlet. Okay, we can get the servlet. Now should give the package name. Package name or class name, you can take anything. Now I would like to give the class name as the test, and you can observe here super class is defaultly it is taken HTTP servlet. Why? Because this one is the IDE. IDE is too intelligent compared to human. IDE is before itself only. It is identifying, hey boss, please inherit the properties from HTTP servlet only, because remaining two are giving some exceptions. So third one is recommended. Please, can you please inherit? Can you please use the third one only? So ID also giving the suggestions for us. Okay, I have given the class name is the text, and the parent I have taken is the HTTP servlet. Okay, next. This is the URL mapping. URL mapping meaning this is the resource. This is the resource which is used to invoke our servlet. Which is used to invoke our servlet. With the help of this only, we can invoke our servlet. Defaultly, whatever the class name you have given, defaultly it is taken URL mapping as our class name only. If you want to change, you can change. This one is clear. Every servlet, for example, everything servlets concept is very important. How can I tell? For example, if I open some websites, if I open IRCTC, if I open this website, any one website I will open, and I will show you how like the servlets will be working internally. It is loading still. I will take one more example, that is yeah, okay. If you can observe here, so this one has come. If you see here, from day to and general, will be having some drop downs, and will be having some drop downs, and whenever you click this one, the details will this they has done with the servlets. Like for example, here we will give the details, and here we will give the details, and the here the classes and the date, and the what kind of you want the general or sleeper, like this, all the details we will give here. And after this we will give the try to book. So there what will happen, so it will be made up with one servlet. So then that request will goes to the server, and it will check that kind of information is there or not there. If it is there, it will returns to here. It will returns to here. So For example, if I open the flights, we can observe here the registration forms, login forms, and validation forms. So all forms developed with the help of servlets only. If you can observe here, this one, if you give the details here, if you click on the try to book in this one, then it will goes to the request and it will check the data is there or not there. If it is there, then it will return in the form of server. It will return in the form of response. Response. Basically, everything like login forms and validation forms, these are made up with the servlets only. These are made up with the servlets only. So same way, I am going here. Where is my this one? Uh, this one is the URL mapping, which is the resource which is used to invoke our servlet. Invoke our servlet. Okay, so same name I am using. Okay, next. Finish. So by default, it will come like this. By default, it will come like this. I will, by default, it will come like this. Class name is the test. I have extended predefined class, that is the HTTP servlet. HTTP servlets. HTTP servlet. So this is the constructor. So this one is not required right now. So I am deleting those things. I am deleting those things. Post method also not required right now. Whatever the methods not required, I am reviewing all the methods. You can observe here right now. So till now, simply I have created only one servlet. I haven't write any program and all. I haven't write any program and all. Whenever I am create the servlet, then do get is the method which is available under the HTTP servlet predefined class. Predefined class. At the time of creating servlet only, the predefined method is came. It is came. Okay. So now this test class is the one servlet. It will be also acting as the one servlet. Why? Because we are inheriting the predefined class properties. Predefined class properties. Now we can observe. Now we can observe. So this is the void, and we'll be having HTTP servlet request dot class. It is having a request and it is having response. It is having response, which is having response. Whatever the response we are sending, the response will be goes to the server, and those details will be available whatever the details we are sending, all the details will be go to the servlet in the form of object. The all the details will be stored in this object. After this, the server is taking the request, process the request, and it will return the response with the help of this object. 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 So for example, I would like to so from response I would like to print something. Simply I would like to take response. I will take the response dot get writer is the predefined method. Will be having get writer is the predefined method. Get writer is the predefined method. I am storing this predefined method in one variable. The variable name you can take anything. So in this case I am taking variable name is the pre, and print writer is the predefined class actually. So predefined class, we need to import this class. So we need to import. This class is available under the java.io. IO meaning input output, input and output. So I am calling that one. And now p.append. P.append. So I would like to pass some dummy message here, like welcome to search. This is the message I would like to print. So this message, yesterday we display the message with the help of HTML. Today we want to display the message with the help of servlets. Servlets. We have created the servlet. The servlet name is test. The servlet name is test. The servlet name is test. We need to mention the web servlet. At the time of itself only it will create it. I would say within double quotations you can take the name is I would say test. This is the URL pattern. We are mapping this servlet to our request URL. This is the resource which will use to invoke our servlet, which will use to invoke our servlet, which will invoke to use our servlet. So this much is clear. Test is the normal Java class. We are converted into the servlet. So now the servlet name is the test. The servlet name is the test. Do get is method is coming from predefined class, that is the HTTP servlet, and I would say here I have written some dummy message, that is the welcome to search software solution. Welcome to search software solutions. Okay, and I would like to run this one. So simply right click over this one and run on the server. Select the server, finish. You need to give the first from here to here our local system. Next thing is project path. Project path. After we need to give our resource. Our resource. Here our resource which is used to invoke our servlet. So from here to here, this is our where our like server got installed. In my case, my server is installed my local only. That's why local host. Port number is 8080. Test is the project name, and this test is the resource name. Resource name. You can observe here. Welcome search software solutions. This test is the project name. This test is the resource name. You can give any name. Instead of test, you can give any name. You can give any name. For example, the same here instead of test, if I would like to give some other name, I would say ABC. If I would like to give the ABC, same I am saving the file. So I need to undeploy. Undeploy meaning we need to stop. Now we need to deploy into the server. So run on the server, select the Tomcat, finish. So the server has started and it will comes like this. You can observe test is the project name, and from there here to here the server is available localhost. This is the port number. This is my project name. After this, we need to give your resource. Your resource. In my case, my resource I have mentioned with ABC. You can observe. You can observe. This is the resource which will help to invoke to call our servlet. To call our servlet. So this much is clear. We have created one simple servlet. Within this servlet, we have passed some dummy message. Some dummy message. This is the resource which we will use to invoke our servlet. Now, what is my servlet name? Test. Test is the my servlet name. We can divide the URL paths into three categories. The first one is the server name, port number, that is the first part. The second part, you should give the project name. Third path, you should give the URL resource, URL pattern. With the help of this URL only, you can able to access our servlet. You can able to access our servlet. So URL pattern is the very important. For example, you can assume in your project, I would say 200 servlets will be there. So in which cases, which servlet we want to execute, we need to map with servlets, all the servlets with the help of mappings, with the help of URL mappings. So URL mappings is the very important. At the time of running the servlet, we need to give localhost and port number, your project name, and resource. So this much is clear. And still somebody is confusing, like what does it mean by request and what does it mean by response. So I will explain one more with another example. uh, Previous case, what will happen, with instead of at the rate web servlet, instead of this annotation, they will use web.xml. So with their, like, they need to map everything. So that is the old technique, to map the servlet, that is the old technique. And it will take lot of time also. That is the old technique. By using mapping, I would say, front end .html files to Java and everything. That is the old technique actually. For mapping every servlet URL with URL pattern, that is the with using .xml file is the old technique. That one has deprecated. So instead of that one, we are using the web servlet annotation. With the help of this web servlet annotation, we can easily map our servlet with pattern, this resource pattern. Clear? This one is clear. Now what will happen internal process, I will explain with different use cases. Yeah. Okay. In this steps to development web application, we have completed 5 steps. 5 steps. You can observe every servlet should have the unique URL pattern. URL pattern in the project. For example, in our project, you can assume 200 servlets will be there. Every servlet should have the unique URL pattern. Unique URL pattern. With the help of that URL pattern only, that servlet will work. For example, you can take the login is the one servlet, register is the one servlet, dashboard is the servlet. The pattern should be like this. Login servlet. These are the URL patterns. Like the class name is the, I would say the servlet name is the login servlet, register servlet, and dashboard servlet. If the 3 servlets will be there, the URL pattern should be like this: login, servlet, dashboard. Then only you can able to access the servlets. Then only you can able to access the servlets. Then only you can able to access the servlet. Then only you can able to access the servlet. And next step is compile our source code. So in the IDE, automatically our dot class files has compiled. And second thing is, we need to make as a dot class files as var file. For example, as a standalone application, we can make as dot jar. As a web application, we can make as the var file. We can make as the var file. Ideally, we'll make as automatically as a var file. We need to deploy our var file into the server. Simply deployment is like this. Simply go to your project. Test is my project. Simply go project and run a server. Whenever you click run on server, our project will deploy into our server. So we need to select the server. Simple thing, guys. Till now, like we have added only one server. That is, we have added only one server for only Tomcat server we have downloaded. The Tomcat server we have added to our Eclipse. Our project we are deploying that project into the server. Only the new thing is deployment. Deployment. We have created the dynamic web project. We are deploying the dynamic project into the server. Into the server. So now this one is also okay. Uh, Once the application deployment is completed, then we can access our application in browser, any browser in our system, any browser we can access with URL pattern. We can access with URL application. URL application. For example, if I open this one, I am running this one. Run as server, Tomcat server, open server, and here I would like to give text dot a b c. The same path I am copying here. Control A, Control C. I would like to open Edge. I would like to open Edge. Here I would like to pass the same path here. You can see any browser in your local, you can get the same result. You will get the same result. Okay. Now, so this much is clear. This much is clear. Next thing is deployment. Redeployment meaning we are deploying one more time. Deployment meaning undeploymenting. We are stopping our server. For example, in this case, so if you stopping meaning we are undeployed our project. Undeploy meaning we are taking back our project. So initially we are deploy our project into the server. Undeployment meaning you are taking away again our project back into the back. So that is the undeployment. So we need to aware those two words. Like redeployment. Redeployment meaning you are deploying again and again. Undeployment meaning we are whatever the project we are deployed into the server, we are taken to back. We are taken to back. That is the undeployment. So this Tomcat server structure we discussed in the last session. Bin, lib, config, web apps, temp, and logs. Logs. So this one we have discussed in the last session. Discussed in the last session. Now the next thing is what will happen the internally process is I will explain with the notepad. This is the client and this is the server. This is the client and this is the server. When I send the request, what will happen internally? This is the client. This one is client. This one is server. When I send the request, who will take my request? Who will take my request? Will be having one mediator, that is the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol. Who will take my response is will be having one mediator, that is the HTTP protocol. HTTP meaning hypertext transfer protocol plus network. Network meaning data. For example, this is our client. Client meaning our browsers like Mac, I would say Chrome, Chrome, Edge. Now I would like to send one request. How the request will go to the server is it won't go independently. It will have a one mediator, that is the HTTP plus network. With the help of this HTTP act as a mediator for transferring our request from client to server. This is the client and this is the Chrome Edge. And now I would like to send the request. I would like to send the request. The request will goes to like this. This is the request. The request goes to like this. And what the server will do? The server process the request and it will check like related to any content will be there or not there. If it is there, it will generate one response. That response will returns to client. Will returns to client. Will returns to client. This one is clear. Anyone has any confusion? Will be having the client. Client meaning our Chrome, our Edge. These all are our clients. Now, with the help of my client, for example, we can observe in this case, this is the request I am sending. This is the request I am sending. If I click on it, my request is going to my server. My request is going to my server. My request is going to my server. Who is carrying my request? Who is taking my request? Who is carrying my request? HTTP act as a mediator and it will take my request from client to server. From client to server. Simple guys, for example, if you want to go from here to some place, like you can assume Martali. You can assume Martali. If you want to go from here to Martali, how will you go? Don't say by walk. You can go. Don't say by walk. You can use some vehicles. You can use some vehicles. With the help of those vehicles, you can go easily. For example, you can use some vehicles, and with the help of this vehicle, you can go easily. You can go easily. In this case, also in the same way, HTTP will also act as a vehicle, and it will help to move our request from client to server. Clear? This one is clear. Most of them are confusing. This much is. So we'll get the clarity. Like I will go a few steps forward. Then overall we will get the clarity. So we'll try to understand what does it mean by HTTP protocol. Okay, we'll try to understand what does it mean by HTTP protocol. Like the first one is the HTTP meaning. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay, you can observe the second point, which is acting as a mediator between the client and server. The client will be available in different location. Client meaning that the project, not the project client. Client meaning our browsers only. Our browsers only, like Mac, our Windows, Chrome. These are our clients. These all are the clients. Okay. Next is server. Server might be available in different location. Client might be available in different location. Who will transfer our information to the server will be having one mediator, that is the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol. HTTP meaning Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So we can divide HTTP protocol in two parts. That is the HTTP request. Second one is the HTTP response. HTTP response. HTTP response. So within the under this will be having methods like get method, post method, put method, delete method. These four are not only four, will be having lot of methods. Among those we will use only four. Most of them are using four, so that's why we are saying four methods only. But instead of this one, we'll be having more methods. So right now, you can try to understand four methods. These are the four methods which will help to move our, which will help to transfer our information from client to server, client to server, client to server. So we'll be having, whenever you are sending this request, it will go, it will the client will create like as a one object. That object, it will move to server. So the object will be having one format. So I will be write the format, request object. This is the request. I can categorize like this. When I am sending my request from our browser to client, so our client will be created as a one like as an object. So the that object should be like this. This is the first line. It will be having a request line. So internally it should be like this. This one is the request line. So this is the request. This is the request. This is the request object, and this is the response object. This is the response object. So internally those will be like this. Oh, it can categorize into four parts. It can be categorized into four parts. First one is the request line. Request line. Second one is the request header. Request header. And third one is empty line. Empty line. Fourth one is the request body. Request body. So in the request line, which will contain URL, which will contain URL plus method. URL meaning at the time of like last time you are created the ABC URL. So that URL pattern will be there. URL and method, like do method or get method. So which method? So request line which will contain this information, URL and method, and request header will contain metadata. Metadata. Metadata meaning data about data. About data. Under the metadata, we'll be having information about the body. What kind of logic you have written, like login form. For example, if you write the login form, so there it will mention, oh, the business, our business logic is login form. Metadata meaning data about data. Metadata meaning data about data. So in the metadata section, we can find out the information about which kind of logic we are sending, which kind of logic the request is having. The request is having. And empty line meaning normal line. Here we don't have any message. So this much is clear. Whenever you are sending the request, the internally it will contain like this. Internally it will contain like this. Request line, request header, empty line, request body, request body. So after this request will goes to the server. The server process the request and it will return the response. The response will also, the response will have like this. Response response line, and response header, and empty line, and response body. In the response line, we'll get the message and status code we will get. Status code very important. Status code. And here also we'll be having metadata. Here we'll be having logic. Here also it will return the response, metadata, and here also we'll be having body. Here we'll be having the logic. Here we'll get the response. What does it mean by response? For example, this is my servlet. This is my servlet. If I try to access with my servlet, yes, network is not there properly. For example, this is my URL pattern. I will delete C, and if I try to click with wrong URL pattern, you can observe what kind of status code it will throw us. What kind of status code will throw us? We'll try to in this browser. I'm controlling C this one. Oh, okay. Where is my Eclipse? I will deploy it one more time. I will stop. Okay. I will deploy one more time. Run on server. Now I will deploy. Okay. So servlet, project name, and ABC. Welcome Sir Software Solution. This is the URL pattern I have registered. Okay, instead of ABC, if I try with AB, you can check. You are getting some status code 404. Who are providing this 404? Server is providing this 404. We can observe, that's the thing I am saying. In the response is the object. Under the object will be having the information like this. It will be categorized into 4 parts. First part is the response line. Second part is the header line. Third part is the empty line. And fourth one is the response body. In the response line itself, will be having message like our code is there or not there, will be having, we will get the message and status code. You can observe here, in case we are getting the 404 status code, meaning we are giving incorrect URL pattern. So status codes is also very important. Based on the status code, we can find out the issues. Now you guys can tell me, what does it mean by HTTP protocol? Hmm? 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 You can next, it will have two parts. One is the request, second one is the response. Request and response. So request should be like this. Request will have the 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? Request line, request header, request empty line, request body. Okay, next, what does it mean by response? Response line, response header, empty line, response body. Okay, this much is clear. What I am saying, in return, when I am server returning the response, it will return the message plus status code. In my case, you can observe, we are getting the response should be like this, meaning 404 not found. The HTTP status is 404 not found. So we'll try to understand, I would say, the status codes. You can observe, if you get the status codes in between 100 to in between, you will get the status code in between 100 to 200, the issue might be the information. The issue related to information error. And you can observe, if you get the status in between 200 to 300, we can say that is our code is, our servlet is working good. Our servlet is working good. Our servlet is working good. Then third one is the redirectional codes. If you get the status code in between 300 to 400, then our URL pattern is redirecting to another URL path. Another URL path. That is the redirectional codes. And you can observe client error codes. If you get the error in between, status code in between 400 to 499, then the error should be from client side. Client side meaning your side only. Here home side this issue our side only. We are giving incorrect URL. That's why it is giving the error in between 400 to 500. 400 to 500. And for example, fifth one is the error is in between 500 to 599. You can get the server error. Guys, in the real time scenarios, based on this, for example, if you are working as a 4 years experience, so at the time of debugging, if you they like the architecture, any person they will connect with you. At the time of like checking the servlets, we will get the this kind of codes. By seeing the codes only, you can analyze what is the issue. If you're not saying, they can easily identify. So for the checking the servlets and the checking the APIs, we will use the Postman tool. Postman is the one real-time tool. So we'll try to understand like how the I have explained the request will be having 4 parts and response will be having the 4 parts. How the 4 parts will be happen, we'll try to understand like this. So this is the Postman. Postman is the real-time tool which is used to check the pages is working or not, URLs is working or not, and the APIs is working or not. So Postman is the tool which is used to check our pages are working fine or not. So in this case, you can observe this is one URL, and you can observe these all are the which methods. These all are the HTTP methods. HTTP methods. With the help of these methods, we can transfer our information from client to server. Okay, these all are the HTTP methods. These all are the HTTP methods. Okay, now I am sending. We'll be having the methods. So I hope we have already discussed the methods. These are the HTTP methods: get method, post method, put method, delete method. Delete method. You can observe get method is used for get the data from the server, and post method meaning to send the data to the server, and put method is also to update the data into the server. Delete method to delete the data from the server. All are related to the server only. To get the data from the server, to send the data to server, to update the data in the server, to delete the data from the server. All are server related methods only. These all are HTTP method which will use to transfer our information from client to server. Next thing, this is the Postman is the real-time tool which is used to check our pages are working or not, URLs is working or not, APIs is working or not. We can find out with the Postman. So in this case, I am taking one URL. So the same URL I am copying here, and I will open any other browser. I am pasting here. You can check. Net is there or not there? Live is coming. Where is my phone? I guess some network issue. Oh. Coming, live is coming. Yeah. Okay. Okay. For example, if I would like to take any other website, I would like to take search software solutions. This is search software solution. If I try with this URL, we are successfully getting our website. The same path I am copying here. I am going into my Postman. The same path I have pasted here, and you can observe these are the which methods. These all are HTTP methods. With the help of these are like act as a mediators. These methods act as a mediator, and these methods will take this response, and this which these are the, like you can assume, these methods responsibility is to take this information and to give that information to the server. These are act as a mediator. Okay, this will take the information, that information these methods will provide to server. You can, these all are the methods: get method, post method, put method. Lot of methods will be there. Among those we are using these methods. Okay, I am using get method. Then you can observe headers. Which header is this one? Which header is this one? I am saying this one now. Request header, that one. Request header, that one. Request header, that one. If you want to add any information, you can add here also. You can add, if you add here, the information will be stored in the header. Guys, clear? What I am saying clear? Request has 4 parts: request line, request header, empty line, and empty body. Empty body. If I, this is the, I am sending the request. I am not getting any response. At the time of sending the request, you will be having the parts like header, body. So if I add any information in the header, that information will be stored in the header. If I want to add any information in the body, the information will be add in the body and header. So this is the, I would say, one URL. I am sending this URL. You can observe what will become. You can observe here the result. The response will come from the server. The response will come from the server in this format. In this format. So response line, you can observe the response line. You can observe response line, and these all are the response. The response will have the body, and the response will have the headers. The response will have the cookies. The response will have the test results. You can observe here the status code. Status code is 200 is okay, meaning whatever the URL I have given, the URL is working fine. The URL is working fine. For example, if I delete some, I have given some wrong credentials. If I send it like this, you can observe what kind of result it is showing. Mm, mm. So Postman, which is the tool, a real-time tool, which is used to check our APIs is working or not, our pages is working or not, our pages is working or not. So for example, if you give the any wrong path, so it will return in the form of response. This is the very important tool. In real-time tools, we will use this one. You can observe this symbol here. You can observe this symbol, meaning it will act as a mediator. It will take the information and it will give that information to the server. It will give that information to the server. Hmm? Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Here one more most of them are confusing. This method is in the form of capital. R word should be in the caps. But if you observe our program, if you observe here our program, you can observe here do get method. Then the both methods are same or different? Can anyone tell me? This I mean, दिमाग खराब हो गया. I mean, these two methods are same or different. These two methods are same or different. These are the HTTP methods, but this method is coming from predefined class. This is the predefined class which is available, like the JDK team has introduced this predefined class. Under this predefined class, we'll be having the do get method, and HTTP servlet request is also predefined class, and we are creating request. Then what will happen? I will the same story I will tell one more time. Okay, servlets is basically very important, so that's why I'm saying multiple times. So this is the client, our client, and this is the server. This is the server. Server. This is the server. Okay. Now this is the client. Client send the request. The request we will take HTTP methods. HTTP methods will take care, and the request will goes to from here to here. Here what will happen internally? This is the server. Server. When the information is coming from the client to the server, in immediately what server will do? It will create. It will create two objects. It will create two objects. It will create two objects. Who will create these two objects? Server will create. Hmm? Uh, who will create? Whenever information is coming from client, client meaning our Chrome, whenever server receives that information, immediately what the server will do, it will create two objects. One is the request object, another one is the response. In this request object contain whatever the request we are sending. We are sending the request, the information, all that it is. The server will store within one object. That object name is the request. Request is the one object, and response is the one object. Response is the one object. Who will create the request object and who will create the response is server. When the server got created, whenever the request is coming from the client, immediately it will create two objects. First it will create the request object. Based on the request, it will check the project. This is our project, you can assume, and in the project it will check, it will execute it will check based on the information, is there any related servlet is there or not there. I will write this one. Based on the request, it will check. Based on the request, it will check related to request, is there any information is there or not there. This is our app.jar. This is our application. If it is there, immediately it will create the response object. If it is not there also, immediately it will create the response.object. It will there, it will give the with information. If it is not there, it will gives the like a response object, like some status code with 303, like that. If the information will be there, what it will do? If the information will be there or not there, it will create the two objects. One is the request object, second one is the response object. If information is there, with the information it will create the object. If the information is there, without information it will create the object. So this is the scenario, guys. Whenever the request sent to the client to the server, immediately server will create two objects. One is the request object, and second one is the response object. Second one is the response object. Now these two, where is this method? This this method, this request is coming from the server. This request is coming from the server, and this request is also coming from the server only. This request is uh, this request this request is having what are the inputs we are giving, what are the requests we are sending to the server, that kind of information. This is the object actually. This is the object. This is the object. Object is having the information. This object is having the information what kind of request we are sending to the server. This object is having the information. So based on the request, it will store that information into the response. Into the response. So the basic thing you can remember like that. So with the help of these two are the parameters. Parameters to do get method. Parameters are the values which will do input to the methods. So those are storing here. We are performing some operations here. Guys, clear? Anyone have any confusion? This is the complete flow of servlets, guys. So instead of this one, nothing else here. We need to understand the complete flow. We need to understand the complete flow. I hope I have given the everything about the servlets. So this is the simple program with the help of servlets. This is the simple program with the help of servlets. Remaining methods also we can use, but remaining methods you can use with the postman only. You can postman only. If you want to put the data into the server, how will you? It is impossible with coding. If you want to put the data into the server, you can come to postman and you can use the put method, and you can give the some data into the header or body. Then the data will be stored into the server. Remaining methods, if you want to use, you can use with the postman. You can use with the postman. Postman is very important actually. You can use with the postman. So this much is clear. I hope this is all about servlets. So apart from we don't have anything, nothing else here. So I hope I have cleared the entire scenario of the servlets. So I will share this document. I will share one assignment and go through that one. I will share the notes. So with this I have completed the servlets. Here the thing is, for writing the servlets is easy, very easy actually. If you can observe how many lines it should be, how many lines it should be, only 3 lines, only 3 or 4 lines. But understanding these 4 lines, we need to understand lot of things theoretically, but the code should be only 4 lines, only 4 lines. But we need to, for understanding the flow is, we need to understand these things, we need to understand these many things. So advanced Java is very easy. Whenever you get the clarity on the theoretical, then advanced Java is very easy. You can observe, only I have written only 4 lines, only 4 lines. It will take around 30 or 20 seconds itself. 30 or 20 seconds itself. But internal process is we need to understand. We need to understand the internal process. Hmm? Any question, anyone? Hmm? Hmm. 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 Start. Yeah, yeah. I will tell that one. I will tell that one. So this is one, guys. Anyone have any queries this now till now? I hope I will ask one more time to online guys. Any questions? Any queries?